Alright, so this is going to be a video about Apple versus Samsung. We all know Apple and Samsung have hated each other for the longest time. Apple's tried to get rid of Samsung entirely, and Samsung seems to be the more lighthearted of the two, making jokes at Apple with many of their advertisements. And this is something we all know. Apple has wanted to ban Samsung phone sales for the longest time on basic things like slide to unlock and autocorrect and stuff like that. And in this day and age, those are basic things for a smartphone. Having a lock screen and having autocorrect, those are some of the most basic things. But Apple's doing that. They're banning sales over the most basic things. And, well, Samsung, well, the thing is, Samsung says American consumers will not be impacted by this move that Apple has caused, but I think no one will be impacted. They have banned sales of old Samsung phones, and I mean prehistoric old, like dinosaur old. These are like the cavemen of smartphones, the dinosaurs of smartphones. These are some of the oldest smartphones ever. No, I'm not joking. They're only about 6 years old. The Galaxy S2, Galaxy Nexus, older phones like that, the Galaxy S, and these phones have already been discontinued. You're not gonna find them unless they're online or anything. So it's not like it's gonna matter if these phones have already been discontinued. So it's not gonna matter if they've already been discontinued. I don't know anyone on this planet that's still using a Galaxy S2 and or a Galaxy Nexus. If you are, great, that's fine. But many of the people that I know that, or many of the people, if they do have one still, probably bought it years ago. No one I know is buying these old ass Samsungs. You'll see in the occasional S3, the S4. I still see it's only about that thing's only about 3 years old. So, or only for a smartphone, that's about 30 years in smartphone years. But this makes no sense by Apple. I think this is just a pointless move. If they couldn't have done the newer Samsungs, then what's the point? And I have no bias for any of these companies. I think Apple was calling out some of the most bullshit claims against Samsung over the most basic things like slide to unlock and a autocorrect. Those are some of the most basic things that even the most basic smartphones out there have. Every smartphone or every modern smartphone over the last couple of years has had those, and it doesn't seem like a problem at all. And apparently Apple, well, if you have anything that's similar to the iPhone or anything that the iPhone has in common with, you apparently copied it. But Apple might as well sue them for having a camera on the phone. That's as basic as some of the claims Apple has made. Gone. I believe Apple a couple years ago they tried calling out Samsung for having rounded corners on the phone. I'm like, that's that's called the fucking shape of a phone. Is HP gonna call out Dell for having a hinge on the laptop that can flip up and down? No, they all fucking do that. That's that's essentially the shape of that product, and the same goes for the smartphone. I honestly, when I heard this article, I read it at first and I was like, this makes no sense. And they saying it's not going to affect the American consumers. I don't think it will affect other countries either, because the other countries, well, many of the countries I'm seeing a lot of low end phones being sold there lately, especially if Android One, and a lot of the smaller countries you can get phones like that. Especially Samsung makes a ton of budget phones, so I honestly see no point in any of this. But what do I have to say? You'll see the occasional iPhone 4 every so often, which has already been taken out of circulation. But these old Samsungs, I don't think I know anyone that's using them, especially the ones like the Galaxy Nexus and all that have been mentioned on here. If you know anyone that's still using them, I don't think they'd care either, because probably by the time that phone breaks or they get sick of it, they're probably just going to get a new one. And most people who are looking for a new phone would probably just get a budget smartphone from Samsung, or an older one, not this old. I don't know anyone that would go for the S2 or the Galaxy Nexus. That's all I have to say. What do you think of this? Do you think this is a good or bad move by Apple? I think it's just Apple wasting their time at this point, because these phones, Samsung's not making money off of them anymore, so it's basically pointless. That's all I have to say. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.